Good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebook family. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, y'all. It's Thursday. Can you believe it? We're already in Thursday. And listen, I got some good tips for you today. It's 3 tips on how to pitch your nonfiction book to bookstores. So if you are an author, if you are aspiring to be an author, tune in, tag, share with your friends. And we're going to get right to it. So I know I normally do this on Fridays, but had to do it today because today is the day to give these 3 tips, right? Okay, so if I'm new to your timeline, I'm Stephanie A. Wynn. I'm an author, and I also help authors with, building a 6-figure brand and taking their book, right? And generating more income outside of just the book sales. So when you are going through the publishing process, you need to be thinking like, what's outside of just the book sale, just that $20 book, right? So, and specifically to my business leaders who have books that they've published, but they just haven't quite like marketed their book or they've given up on their book. So we're gonna get right into it. Today is this is day, I think this is week 3 or week 3 of 4. So this month we're talking about pitching, like pitching your book. So maybe you haven't thought about pitching your book to bookstores or organizations, but you that should be a part of your marketing strategy as you're going about, you're planning this book thing, right? So we're gonna get right into today's topic. All right. So a little bit about me. I started my very first business at the age of 23. I was the youngest woman of color in my city to start a ice cream shop. Now there were other ice cream shops in the area, but for a woman of color that young, I was the very first, and so it was really challenging. That first business is the reason why I wrote the Ready Set Go, because there was no point of reference. I had no mentor at the time to show me like what the things that I needed to start this business, and so which propelled me forward to write the book. Ready Set Go: A Simple Guide to Establishing a Successful Small Business. And so from there I conducted a nationwide book tour because in I truly believe that your book is for somebody, not everybody, but it's for somebody. And to find that out, like you really have to figure out like where are they, who are they, and if this book is going to, help them get over some type of pain point or challenge, right? So, and then as I stated before, like I truly love helping purpose-driven entrepreneurs get clarity on their ideal customer and build their business brand by providing business development strategies. So we're gonna get right into it this morning. If you have not already registered tonight, we're doing the How I Turned My $20 Book into a 5-Figure Business. It starts at 6 p.m. I know it says August 18th, but it's tonight. So if you want to go ahead and register. It's still time to register. Again, it's going to be amazing, and I'll talk about that later on in this live. So the first thing you need to do to build to pitch your book to, if you're a nonfiction, this is for my nonfiction authors. If you're a nonfiction author and your goal is to pitch to bookstores and organizations, this is the first thing you need to do. You need to have the business mindset to do this. And so what do I mean by that? And let me just break it down. Most people, they go into things and they just know, oh, I can do that. I can do that. And you, with the same way of thinking, you think the same way. You're not um thinking that this is possible. You don't change your thought process. And so you got to have some type of business mindset when you are in the process of pitching. So some people, when you don't change the way you think, that's what we call a fixed mindset. You continuous thinking the same thing over and over and over again, right? So we don't want to have that type of mindset. You want to have more of a growth mindset, and that is where you look to succeed, right? You don't self-sabotage things. You keep going no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, right? So I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna give you the actual what it means to have a business mindset. But no, just know that before you pitch your book to anyone, any organization, any bookstore, you got to change the way you think. You got to have a business mindset. And so, what is a business mindset? A business mindset is a way of thinking that enables you to uncover and see problems as opportunities, and then turning those opportunities into a business. Does that make sense? So remember, in everything that you do, you have to have a business mindset. That mindset is so important because sometimes we go along and, oh, I can do this and I can do that and I know what I'm doing. I got it, right? But as soon as something doesn't go right, you self-sabotage it. Oh, it wasn't for me. Success should have happened for me. Well, no, you have to put in the work. It takes work. So, number one, out of all three of these tips, you got to change the way you think. Your mindset is everything. Okay. So, if you're catching this on the replay, hashtag replay, but just know that your mindset is everything. If you don't believe that you could pitch your book or pitch your book to organizations or corporations, then they're not going to believe that you belong there either. So, I'm telling you, you got to believe that you could do this very thing. And it first starts with the way you think. It starts with the thought, your thoughts, right? So let's move right along. Number two, this is very important. You got to research these places that you're planning on pitching. So a lot of us think, okay, I want to just go to any bookstore or whatever. Make sure that the searching these places that aligns with your values, like that it aligns with what you're trying to do. Not all bookstores are going to be in alignment with your business model. So if you have a book and maybe your book is urban fiction, right? And you want to get it in Barnes and Noble. Well, you first want to make sure that they even accept urban fiction books. Because some books, a lot of bookstores don't, accept because it's hard to sell them. It's hard to move them off of the shelf. So you want to make sure you do your research first. And a lot of times, um, we just feel like our book is for everybody. It can be in any bookstore, and that's just simply not the case. You want to make sure you do your research. You got to research because sometimes we just sell, sell, sell. We pitch, 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 and as we're pitching, we're not realizing that maybe our book isn't for everybody. Maybe it's not for everybody. So remember, you got to do your research. It's just like if you're writing a book. You should know who your target audience, like your reader audience, you should know who that is before you start selling this book. You got to know this before you get the physical copy in your hand. It's not for everybody. And I've heard, well, it's for all walks of life. No, like, can you service all walks of life? Can you handle all walks of life? You have to really narrow it down. You have to narrow it down. Oh, it's for everybody. And I'm telling you this because I thought that for my book. Oh, my book is for everybody. I mean, anybody can start a business. That was my thinking, right? No, not everybody wants to start a business. Not everybody want to start a business. Not everybody cares about entrepreneurship, right? So you have to research and say, okay, I am focusing on certain locations. So I'll give you an example. I research incubators around the US. Where are the number one incubators that I can go and speak and pitch my book, right? So it had to line up. And these were for startups like the In Lab, the Sandbox. Like these are all different, like this. It has to line up with what your audience, right? It has to line up with your target audience. So again, you got to do your research. You got to do your research because if you don't, then you'll be pitching to everybody, and not everybody wants your book. So, what is market research? And I want to say this because a lot of times we'll start a business, we'll start a business, and we won't do any research. We'll just start marketing, we'll just start selling. Specifically for my authors, we'll get that book in our hand and we'll start pitching and selling to everybody. Oh, my book is for everybody. And it's really not. It's not. So, what is market research? Market research is it's the process of collecting data or information about your target audience. That's just as simple as I can put it. It's the process you're going to collect this information. You're going to research these organizations or bookstores, and you're going to collect the data. Okay, where are they located? Who's the decision maker, right? You're going to do your market research. Whether you're an author teacher, an author speaker, an author coach, or author consultant, you have to do your market research on everything that you do as far as your business is concerned. Because being an author, it is a business. And if you want to pitch your book to organizations or corporations, this is what you need to do. Some of you are vending. Some authors, you go to a lot of authors do a lot of vending, right? And you have to research to make sure that that particular that event aligns with your business model. How much does it cost for you to get a table at this vending event? If the price is higher, then think about how many books do you have to sell to break even to get your money back from that amount of money you paid for the table, right? You have to do your research, because sometimes I see this all the time. Sometimes there's a lot of authors who will sign up for vending events, and the price the price is so extreme. There's no you have to sell like 200 books to make your money back. So although you may want to get the exposure and brand awareness, sometimes it's best to just, hey, this has to make sense for me. If it's $25 for a table, okay, you go $25, you could sell $25 worth of books. But I'm just saying it needs to make sense when you're doing your market research, right? So remember, market research is the process of collecting data or information about your target audience. And a lot of us do not like to do research. We'll just go on the fly, or we'll think that it's what we want it to be. And that's not how we should do things. You got to figure out what bookstores do you want to target? Where are they? Right? Do they have a lot of traffic coming into their store? Where are they located? Are they on a busy location? When I started let me say this. When I started my ice cream shop, there was no social media. It was manual marketing. So I had to do manual market research. And what do I mean by that? I would go and sit in parking lots of ice cream shops and look around to see, okay, this ice cream shop is busy because of the location of the foot traffic, the people that are around it. So I would go to 3 ice cream shops. Went to 3 ice cream shops, and this is over a 90-day time span. So each month I would start at the ice cream shop that was furthest away from my building. I would go to the one that's a little bit closer to my building, right? And then maybe one a little bit north of my building, right? So after researching these 3 ice cream shops, I noticed that one was on the beach. Actually, no, 2 was on the beach, right? So their foot traffic was amazing. Like, it was just crazy. Then the other one was closer in town, but it did okay. It wasn't as busy. Now, what I did was I would watch people for 30 minutes and count the people that will go into these businesses. So I'm just saying, like, you have to, whoever you're pitching, whatever bookstore you're pitching, it has to make sense. Like, are they busy? Do they get a lot of traffic? Some bookstores will tell you, we're not a busy bookstore, but it's worth a try. You know, don't let that discourage you when you're pitching to bookstores. You have to believe that it's going to work out. And you got to get creative with your marketing. Point blank, period. You got to get creative with your marketing. So again, market research is the process of collecting data or information about your target audience. And then you go back to the table and say, okay, I found that if I go to this bookstore, there's a lot of places, they're busy on Saturdays. Yeah. All right. So, and tip number 3, you want to build a targeted pitch list. You have to build a targeted pitch list. So you may be saying, well, what is that, Stephanie? Well, a targeted pitch list, that's a list of all of the organizations, the companies, and the bookstores that you would like to pitch your book to. You got to build this list. But the first 2 things are much more important. The mindset, and you got to do your market research. Okay? So you got to create this pitch list. So here's what's included in your targeted pitch list. And I used the same thing from last week, but I want you to see that you need to have the name and location of the bookstores, the name and location of the organization, and the contact person who makes the decision at the stores. If you're pitching bookstores, you need to be talking to maybe the manager, right? But you want to make sure that you create a list of these places. Maybe you want to do a nationwide book tour. You need to create a list. You can't just do it off the fly. A lot of us want caviar, but we want to put in, I'm gonna just say it. We want to put in chitlin effort. And we can't do that. Like, if you want to be great at something, you got to do what the average will not do. And that may mean you taking time, researching. That may mean maybe you need to hire somebody to do it for you. But whatever you decide, just know this: you have to put in effort and time. This is something that you will have to do if you want your book to go further. Now, I'm not saying getting on other people's podcasts and utilizing other people's audience is not good, because that's a good thing. But what happens after that? What happens after that? I'm just saying, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. Like, we must do better. So again, you gotta create a list, and your targeted list needs to be the target list of the places you would like to pitch your book. The location, the address, the name of the person at the location, the name of the person at the organization. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, put hashtag makes sense. All right. So here's the next step. And I told you guys I wasn't going to keep you long. The next steps here are map out the bookstores or organizations, right? I want you to map out the bookstores and organizations. Write out your targeted pitch list. So you gotta do some work. So maybe you create a spreadsheet in Excel or Google Sheets, right? But you gotta map out the bookstores and organizations that you want to pitch your book to. This is a must. Like, this is a no-brainer. You have to do this, right? And then write out your targeted pitch list. You gotta write it out. I'm just saying. So make sure you write it out. Write it out so that you can see. Remember, you got to write the vision so that you can see it, and you have to move forward with that vision. Like, so if your vision is to go on a nationwide book tour, then you got to write this thing out. Okay? So here are the 3 business tip takeaways for this week. Number 1 is the mindset. You gotta have, you gotta change the way you think. You have to believe that you can be successful at pitching your book, right? So you have to have this mindset. Number 2, you gotta do research. You gotta do research. You gotta research the bookstores or organizations that are that you want to pitch your book to. So you got to do your research. There's nothing more important than just you got to do market research, right? And then number 3, you want to make sure you create a targeted list of bookstores and organizations that you want to pitch your book to. So these 3 author business tip takeaways, this is, you got to do this. You must do this, right? You got to do this. This is a must. So if you don't know how to do this, or you need more information about how to do this, join us tonight. Tonight it is the workshop we're having. It's going to be amazing. So it's the How I Turned My $20 book into a 5-figure business, and it takes place tonight. I know it says August 18th. I'm sorry, it's the 25th at 6 p.m. And I'm going to put the banner across so you can register there. And here's what you'll learn. You'll learn how to build a 6-figure author brand before selling your book. You'll learn what tools you will need to create a successful book marketing strategy. And then you'll also learn how to pitch your book to organizations and corporations, bookstores as well. So join us tonight at 6 p.m. It's going to be amazing, and we'll see you in the building. If you have any questions, I'll drop the link in the comment section. But again, before you pitch your book, just make sure you have the mindset to do this, right? You want to research your information, research the people that you want to pitch your book to. And then number 3, you want to make sure you build that pitch list. Okay. All right. Well, it's your girl, Stephanie A. Wynn. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a wonderful day. Happy Thursday. See you tonight. Bye.